G'day there folks, I'm Beanie, you're watching Beanie Draws, and if you are a new viewer, I've decided I'm going to try and start a new series on this channel for drawing Pokemon exclusively. Well, in this part of the channel. I'm going to be starting a new playlist where I'm going to draw every single Pokemon. I'm going to try to. There's 722 of them all up, but I figured because I've been playing Pokemon Go, it's brought back my nostalgia of the original series. And I know there's going to be a lot of people out there who want to start drawing Pokemon again, or people who still draw Pokemon, and they want to get some fan art drawn. So what better way of doing that than learning to draw how to draw Pokemon? I'm going to be starting this one with Bulbasaur, and for those of you who are regular viewers of my videos, I will still be drawing dinosaurs, so don't worry about that. And if you are new to this, and you like dinosaurs as well as Pokemon, go check out my channel. I've got a whole bunch of dinosaur drawings in there as well, which is hopefully very entertaining. Lots of stuff from Jurassic World. But in the meantime, this playlist is going to be exclusively for Pokemon. This Pokemon is going to be Bulbasaur. So, Bulbasaur seems fairly easy to draw. Well, from looking at it on my reference screen. So let's just see how we go, shall we? What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in a rough shape for his head. In my impression, his head is kind of squarish. This is like a loose reference placement for things. This is tend to how I do it. So I'm drawing line there, line there, line there, and a curved line here. And that will serve as his basic shape for his head. And then in there, naturally, we're going to have ears. So he's got pointy ears, slightly curved as well. Point one there. And then going to point one there. Draw one, I should say, not point. His butt seems to be around here. And I'm going to draw one of his arms around there. Because for new drawers, you'll find that the hardest part of drawing anything is basically the proportions, because sometimes you'll find that one part of the drawing is too big or it looks a little bit weird, which throws the whole drawing off. So rather than drawing, like, say, okay, now I'm going to draw the eye, now I'm going to draw the other eye, now I'm going to draw the mouth, I figure it's best to get the whole layout of the image. So the next part that I'm going to point is going to draw the tip of the bulb, which looks to be about there. When drawing when drawing anything really, especially with pencil, you can actually erase lines if you don't like the placement. So there might be a bit of that. So it's okay if you mess up a line, you can just retry. What we're going to do is I am going to try and draw a line for the bulb. So a bit of a curved line like so. And you'll notice that my lines aren't straight. Well, they're not, one single line. I like to draw my lines with multiple little lines like so. It looks like we can use a line to go from his back down to his bottom. So bring it down to about there and curl it down. That will be his back and his butt. Like so. And as I was talking about erasing, I've already noticed that his ear is a little bit off. It doesn't point out like that, it comes in a little bit. So I'm going to erase some of that line. Erase that line. And I'm going to bring that line up like so towards the ear and point it like so. Not too bad. And then I'm going to draw a line here, which is kind of that the top of his head. When drawing the line around this part, you don't want the lines to connect. Next, what we're going to draw is the back of the bulb, which will probably go about here. Points there. The bulb is around there. So bring a line from there down towards his butt, like so. So just draw that curved line, like so. These next lines are fairly easy to do, so we might as well draw them now. Draw a line from that bulb, might as well draw the top curve as well. These are the leaves sections, so I'm going to draw a leaf line that goes to about there, and bring that up. So it's fairly close to this line at the top, but when it gets down to his butt, it's far away from that line. The more I review this image, the more I think his ear, because, okay, to give you an idea, this ear is too close that way now, because when we draw in the line for the other part of the leaf, I mean, realistically, you could leave the ear there. It doesn't have to be too exact, but compared to how it looks like on the reference images that you'll find on Google Images, it's a little bit off. So, I can draw that line there, which means I'm going to move his ear a little bit over and move it up to about here. The beauty of drawing with pencils is you can erase lines and move things around as much as you want. And also the reason why I kind of want to keep these, I want to try and keep these videos as raw as possible, so that, you know, there's a lot of videos out there on how to draw, and they're very precise, they're very accurate, shows you line by line, but sometimes drawing isn't always that perfect. So I want to show you my mistakes while I'm making them, so it's, you know, makes you feel a little bit more confident. If you make a mistake, you can just, you know, erase that line and try it again. Sometimes it might take you a few lines, sometimes you might get it first go. I'm going to fix up his ear a little bit more, because as you can see here, making his head go up to about there. So I'm going to bring that line to about there. And for anyone who's wondering, because I get this question quite a lot in my other videos, I'm just using a mechanical pencil. It's kind of what I like drawing with, but you can just use any old pencil you want. I'm going to draw the line on top of his head, making sure there's a little bit of a line poking out there, just because it's that kind of style. Gives it a little bit of an extra three-dimensional vibe, and might as well finish the top of his bulb. So I'm going to draw one curl, two curls. And these would probably be the flaps on his bulb. So kind of think of it like drawing little birds, I guess. You know, those stick figure birds that we'll draw as kids, or, you know, even nowadays. When I'm describing things, I'm not as good at drawing. His bottom of his head is about there. So I'm going to use, I like to use edges and measurements like that to draw my line. So I'm going to draw a line to about there. Bring that out like that. Draw a line here, very much like how he did there. It's a bit of a folding line. Bring it down to around there and curl it out. We will draw a line that connects that cheek to the bottom of his mouth. Well, bottom of his chin or head, like so. And when you think about it, like, if you didn't draw any of his other features right now, it looks very much like a cat. Now that we know where his head is, we've got an idea of where we can put his legs. So I'll put a line here. I'll draw a little circle here, because that's going to be where that leg's going to be. I'm going to draw a little bit of an oval, because that's where that part of the leg's going to be. Looks like another sort of an oval circle thing. That'll be another one of his legs. And then just refine it. Draw a line down there. Curve the line, but we're not going to make it actually oval, because his little toes are going to be over there. Then draw another line from here down over past his, well, he doesn't really have much of an elbow. That is kind of his elbow. Bring it down towards his feet. and it kind of comes around there, and it's like a sharp edge. What we do, we're going to have to cut off his bulb for a little bit. Going to draw in some little coned, pointy claws. So, little sharp point with a circled, curled end. So it's kind of like an ice cream cone. Then we'll draw another one of those here, like so. And then another one here, like so. And then draw a line there and a line there. So we have his leg, and now we'll draw a line going from about here, bring it down so he's got a knee, and then bring that line around to about, well, much like how we're doing there, it kind of stops around there, but it continues there because it's got claws. That sounds very complicated, but let's just draw the claws, shall we? So these claws kind of point out a little bit more, so it points out there. Draw that pointy claw and a curved edge, another pointy claw, then a curved edge, another pointy claw, curved edge, and that's his claws. And it looks a little bit different, the perspective, compared to what I'm seeing on the computer screen, but I'm not tracing the image, so I'm basically using visual references as I go along, which is where sometimes your image will look a little bit different to what you see on, your reference image from what you're copying from. So just going to bring his foot out a little bit more, and then bring that line up towards his butt. Like so. And there's a curved diamond up here, which might as well draw in. That's one of the textures of his leg. So like so. There's a little tiny little thin rectangle shaped thing there, which would be another part of his pattern. And up here is also very much the same. You've got a diamond shape. Just roughly draw it in, but you won't draw that part. You draw the diamond edges and curl them. And that is the patterns on his back and skin. So there you go. Around here, what I might do is I'll draw a light line that will connect from his shoulder down to his tummy. But when actually drawing it, because I've drawn this very lightly, make sure what you're doing is very light to start off with, because then what we'll do is we'll have a line starting from about there, and make that the thick line, bring it to his arm, and stop, because you don't want to draw the whole line, and then just finishing that line about there. Around here we'll draw his other leg. So draw like that, and a pointy claw, so it's like his other leg, and then we will do kind of like this leg, but bring it in a bit. So bring it in, then we'll draw a claw. Around here also, the middle claw seems to overlap this claw, so we'll just do a pointy claw that overlaps this claw a little bit, then a claw here, and then we'll just draw the bottom of his foot, which curls up there. The image that I'm using is showing me that his foot is a little bit closer to his leg or foot, whatever you want to call it, it's closer to this one than it should be. What we could do is erase it so it's more like out here, because this is, what it's getting at with that. Sometimes the proportions may be a little bit off compared to what you were imagining. So how I first drew it, really it should be more like that, how it looks like in the image. I've drawn it lightly so you can kind of see what I mean. So you can see both versions, how it looks like in the reference images like this. However, you could very well just as easily leave it like this And that stance means that his arms are a little bit closer together, which means he's almost got a cuter vibe to himself. So, if you want to keep the cute look, you can have his arms closer in. If you want it to look more like the actual artwork that you see, all over the place, have the legs have that leg a little bit spread out if you want. That's completely up to you. It doesn't have to be exactly like how it looks. I mean, if you wanted to, go for it. But if you want it to be a little bit more personal, do it how you want to do it. With his textures, I've also noticed that a lot of different artworks have very different positionings of the textures. So when I say he, Bulbasaur in general is not necessarily one individual character. Bulbasaur is the breed of characters. So all the different Bulbasaurs, they may have different patterns, placings, so it doesn't necessarily in that regard have to be exact either. Just the general, it seems like they all have a big one here, a big shape there, a big shape there, big shape there, and a big shape there, but the actual exact positioning isn't paramount, if that's the word I'm meant to be using. But, you don't have to be that anal about it. Gonna put the pattern there. I'm just going to do another pattern there, like so. Just going to tidy up that little bit a bit. Then what we want to do is draw his mouth. So just imagining that he's got the tip of his beak around there. I'm going to draw in a line around here, maybe a little bit too far out, maybe around finishing up around there. Also, with this guy, what I'm going to do a little bit of advanced teaching already, but might help you in positioning eyes. His head in this drawing is facing that way. It's not facing us. So we don't want his eyes to be like, like that. Like, exactly positioned. Unless you want him to be looking at us. In which case, like I was saying around with this leg, if you want him to look at you, go right ahead, do it. However, he's looking the image I'm looking at is kind of looking that way, but looking this way, if that makes any sense. So what we want to do is draw a line that divides the middle of his head. If his head was a hollow, transparent image, it'd kind of look like this, because that would be the middle cross section, and then like so. Basically, that is the center dividing line. That gives you the idea of where the front of his head is. So, using that line, I'm just going to do a little bit of a hook and then bring it down. Looks like he's got a bit of the edge of his mouth has a bit of a curled tick. So bring that down there. I'm going to draw two little lines here, which are his nostril holes. Then we'll draw a little fang. Fang would be about here, I think. So just a decent sized little fang and another decent sized little fang. Mouth kind of goes right down to here when his mouth is open. There's so many different ways you could probably draw Bulbasaur, because there's so many ways that the animators drew him, but we'll draw it this way for now. I'm going to draw a line going up there, and then around here, not at this edge, we want to bring it just a little bit in, so it's got a little bit of a corner of the mouth. Bring that corner of his mouth down towards the bottom of his lip, like that. Then we'll just draw a little line here, and that will be his inside of his mouth or tongue. Now, what I want to do is bring a line from about the middle of his ear, but not at that point. Bring it down a little bit, so it'd be about there. Probably easier actually to draw the left eye. I always find that when you draw the right eye, then when you're trying to match the balancing of the two eyes, your hand is covering this eye that you've just drawn. So another bit of advice I have is to start off with the left eye and then bring it over to the right. Otherwise, you're trying to imagining the placement and then the hands covering it, and you get into all sorts of problems. So start off with the left eye. We'll draw the bottom of his eye, like so. Bring the line up to a bit of, he's got sharp pointy eyes when you think about it. So they're not circled, they're pointy triangles with curved sides, I guess. But bring the line up there. Bring this curved line up around to about there, and it actually comes up around there. So it kind of looks like he's got a eyelid line. So bring it like that. Then we will bring that line down here. And then we will draw a semicircle, well, not a semicircle, a little oval in there, and that's like the big shine in his eye. And now we can see that and translate it over to this side. So start at around here, more around here, I think. I'm just going to draw it and see how it goes. It's going to be like a wider version of this eye. And I may have actually drawn that eye a little bit too wide out. So I'm actually going to apologize and erase this. So let's just bring it in a bit. Like that line, and bring it up like that eyelid. Then draw that line in between, which is his pupil, and then make that oval narrower, like so. And now the placement looks a little bit easier to work with. So like I was saying, when you're drawing, and if you're drawing it along and it doesn't look quite right, and you're like, oh, it doesn't look right, it doesn't look how it's supposed to look, just erase a little bit and try it again. Even those of us who've got more experience at drawing, like, this is the first time I've drawn Bulbasaur. I didn't get it right the first time around, and I'm trying to teach you guys how to draw it. So, I want to show the imperfections of, drawing. I like the idea of being a sort of a teacher that can show you the flaws, so then it makes you less intimidated about drawing. So, if you mess up, you don't have to quit, you don't have to give up. If you mess up, just erase and try it again. Because that's what all artists do. We all mess up from time to time, so you erase what you don't like and you try it again. Sometimes I've spent like half an hour trying to fix something up. And that is exactly why I want to keep these mistakes in the videos, so that you guys can, I can relate to you guys a little bit. It makes it a lot easier to draw, hopefully. It's more of a confidence thing, really, than a skill level thing. Because even when you got a lot of skill, if you mess up a lot, it could sort of eliminate some of your confidence. And if you want to regain your confidence, just keep going at it and try it again, because, we all make mistakes. So I think that's the lesson I'm trying to teach in that little part. So I'm just going to bring out his eye there. And do a little bit of a curved, straight line. It's a little bit straight, but it's a little bit curved for the bottom of his eye. Just going to tidy it up. When it comes to drawing and teaching and YouTubing, it's got a lot to do with confidence, and when you first start something, you may be a little bit intimidated. Like, I'm a little bit intimidated by trying to teach you guys how to draw Bulbasaur after having never drawn him in my life. So, yeah, hopefully I'm doing okay for teaching you guys how to draw when I've never actually drawn him before. But, yeah, you can see all my working lines as well. Now what I'm just going to do is draw a line from here to down there. I'm going to erase this line as well, because, you can kind of keep it. It's kind of got a bit of an eyelid vibe, but I'm just going to get rid of that just for the sake of making it look better. I'm going to draw a circle there. It's a little bit too tall, a little bit too high, I think. So again, erasing. We're trying to echo this on this side and make it a little bit bigger. Not too vastly big, just a little bit bigger. So do it like so. Anyway, I'm just going to bring in his ear a little bit, just refining the image now. I think his ear needs to be a little bit more. Just going to refine that. And now we'll draw in a line here for his eye bump, I guess you'd call it. And around here, there's some little shapes, like so. Some people have drawn them as little love hearts, which you can do like that if you want. Or draw a little sort of, rectangle. Doesn't have to be exact or perfect, but, like I said, Bulbasaur isn't a specific character. It's not like, his name's Ralph the Bulbasaur. He's a Bulbasaur. So, the patterns may be a little bit different between each of the species. Like zebras have different, markings, but they're zebras. So you can have there's like some Bulbasaurs with love hearts. I'm just going to draw some more squarish, a squarishy rectangle circle, which will make no sense, but just draw it, and it doesn't have to be brilliant, doesn't have to be perfect. It's a pattern. There you go. Now the next stage is to erase all the little lines that we've done to build him up. So I'm just going to erase them now. I'm just going to fix it up just a little bit. Now looking at my Bulbasaur, what I'm now going to do is I'm going to go over all these lines with a fine liner. Basically a felt tip pen, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to use a 0.2. May go a little bit higher, we'll just see about the thickness, but you want a semi-thick line. Just see how we go when drawing these lines in. Forewarning, I'm not brilliant at drawing with these pens. I'm very shaky with my lines. So when it comes to drawing clear line art, this isn't the channel for you. There are much better drawers out there who do much better line work. Okay, now admittedly that was a bit of a hack job. As you can see, my lines were incredibly messy. I'm not the best at inking or tracing or drawing lines like that, so yeah. I'm just going to wait for the ink to dry a little bit, because if you erase all the lines now, you're going to get all your ink and you get smudged all over the place, and that would be bad. Okay, it should be dry enough now. I'm just going to gently erase all my pencil lines. I'm just going to try and tidy up my lines a little bit more. As you can see around there, I really messed up. And around here, I messed up. So I'm just going to try and smooth out my lines a little bit so it looks a little bit more presentable. Now, the next step to doing this, I think, is probably to do color. So I'm going to show you a few little tips in between drawing this. I'm going to be time-lapsing most of this, but for bits like, advice on how to color and, how to select your color, I will explain those bits. Thinking this one will be the color for the shadow. The sort of greeny blue around here. So it's kind of more like this color in the dark spots, and kind of like, sort of like that color. A little bit that color, a little bit that color for his body. He's kind of greeny blue. I'll take a risk and I'll use this one. So I'm just going to draw in the line for where I think the shadow will go. Got sort of cell shading. Cell shading being that it's going to be fairly flat in its color. That shape is going to be this color, and then the other side of the shape is going to be a lighter color. So I'll color in this side. Also, when doing large flat areas of color, don't go hard down pressuring with your pencil. Try and keep your level of pressure consistent. And if one bit of area, so like around here, I thought it looked a bit dark, it looked a bit lighter, so I've just darkened it up slightly. And then follow that throughout the rest of that flat image. Flat coloring is actually very difficult to do in keeping it consistent. tone. And also try and color in one direction, so you can keep a uniformity, so you don't have that sort of hard strokey kind of vibe that can kind of give a little bit of an amateuristic vibe to your coloring. If you think that your coloring sometimes looks a little bit average or crap, it could be because your strokes are in multiple different directions. Could be that you're not consistent in the pressure that you use. And it could also be because you're not allowing enough spread. Like, say, you can just add in a little bit more green there, and that just makes it a little bit more even. So that's hopefully even for that. Another problem with coloring and sharing it to you on video is the fact that the color that I see on my page is different to the color that I'm seeing on my screen, and that's a lot to do with color collaboration and color correction and all that. So, and now what we're going to do is going to color in this side of the shape. I'm also going to leave a little bit. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to use the same color that I used for this part, but have a lot lighter pressure so it looks like it's a lighter color. Hopefully this will work. I'm just going to add in a little bit of a yellowy bit of green, just because when you're coloring with pencil, you can actually layer different colors over the top of each other to get a slightly different color. It's very much like painting in that way. Okay, so it's not how it looks like in the official artwork, but it's not way off. Next, I'm going to color in his patterns on his back. I think I'm going to go with this color and see how it goes. Now, in these two colors, I'm gonna leave it there for now. What I'm going to do is going to color the rest of the image because he's got as you can see here, the cell shading is kind of shadowy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use this pencil again, lightly going to draw in the lines for where the shadow will go. Bit of a shadow connecting line there. Going to switch it to this color for the rest of his body, even though it's fairly off, but it's probably the best I can do at the moment. Now I'm going to draw in the lines for where his highlights will be. And as you can see around here, the lines go through the patterns, which would make it that the coloring inside the pattern splotches will actually be a different color of shading. So, as you can see here, there's a line going through there. This side will be will be like this color. This side will be lighter. This side will be darker. And that's how you have the cell shading through patterns. And I'm just going to color in the rest of the shading in that side because I use this color to do the lines for the highlight, so that will be not actually going to be coloring in that side. It'll be more like the head, like the full body areas will be like that, and then this pencil will be the shadowy parts for like here. And now to color in the rest of him. Now he's got sort of a pinkish reddish pupil, and then we'll shade it darker in the top part. And then give him a bit of a dark part and then a light part under here for his tongue. I'm going to use purple to colour in the inside of his mouth. I'm going to use a light layer of purple over the shadows of his pupils, just to give us a little bit of more of a purple tinge, and I can make this a little bit better. Now I'm just going over the last little bits of touches, just to, it looks a little bit different from the artwork, but this is now when I just make it a little bit my own style. So now I'm just going to make it a little bit more rendered, just for the hell of it. Actually, maybe I'll go over it slightly. Give a very slight wash of green. And there you have it. Bulbasaur, number 1 out of 722, or 150, whichever way you want to look at it. But this is the first drawing, in which is going to be a long list of different Pokemon. I'm going to be drawing them one by one, but I will also be drawing other videos along the way as well. Also going to be drawing more of my regular dinosaurs that you may have seen in my channel as well. So keep an eye out for more of those as well. I'm going to be drawing all sorts of things, but I'm going to try and get as many of these Pokemon out as possible. And hopefully these videos will get better and better over time. So sorry if the start of it was a little bit mishmashed, but as you can see, eventually the results aren't too bad. My line work is messy, but I hope to improve on that in time with practice. Because, you know, if you've had any problems with this drawing, basically what you just do is you keep drawing, you keep practicing, and you will get better. That is the only thing. That's the only advice I can give to you when you want to improve on your drawing. Keep drawing, keep doing it more and more, and you will get better. So that's what I'm going to have to do to improve my line work. I'm just going to have to keep doing that to get it better. But until then, thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something from this video. Go forth and draw your own Pokemon. Draw your own Bulbasaur. The next one will obviously be the evolved version. I actually don't know the name of the next Pokemon. It's in the Pokédex, I know that. That's going to be the next drawing. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you want to see more, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you next time. Cheerio for now.